It's been about 24 hours since voting ended in Pakistan, but results have still not been announced. With half the seats counted, it's looking like the polls are swaying in the favor of the jailed ex-Prime Minister Imran Khan. In fact, his supporters have been leading the polls. It's especially astonishing because it looks like the country is denying Pakistan's powerful military a widely expected victory for its preferred party, Nawaz Sharif-led PML-N. In fact, Nawaz Sharif has just wrapped up his speech where he acknowledged that his party does not have the numbers to form government itself. And in fact, we've been monitoring those developments very closely. And to dissect that and give us a better assessment of what really is happening on the ground, we will be joined shortly by our Pakistan Bureau Chief Anas Malik, who has been tracking all those developments. And we also have with us on the broadcast this minute Raham Khan, journalist and author with us from Lahore. Thanks very much for being here with us. I have to ask you this first. What is your reading of Nawaz Sharif's speech that concluded just a short while back? What do you think he was trying to do there?
So I think he was a little bit obviously demoralized, as you'd expect that he would be. And he mentioned our nation being Zakhmi. It seemed like a bit of a Zakhmi Sher moment. I think he was overconfident and perhaps believed that he was a new Ladla, the new love of the establishment perhaps. And I think they got a rude shock. A lot of us had been warning them that they are falling into this familiar trap. They were very complacent. As far as PTI is concerned, they ran a virtual campaign like no other. They used every tool in the book. They used the social media, they used artificial intelligence, they used older recorded messages, and they ran a very vibrant, a very active campaign, a virtual campaign, with the absence of the two leaders, with Shah Mahmood Qureshi as well as the skipper, locked away. And I think PML-N had a very, very disappointing and a very lackluster campaign. Also started election campaigning very late. So I think that today, perhaps a moment of truth for him, and he had to realize that this was not the sort of two-third majority that he was expecting. Yesterday, he categorically stated in response to a journalist's question that he was expecting to form government without any coalition partners. In fact, he said, for God's sake, don't talk about a hung parliament. So he seemed very confident. And I think that a lot of us had been warning that this time round in 2024, the biggest party, the most influential party would be the independents. Now, don't forget that although a lot of people are saying that they're all PTI-led or PTI-affiliated independents, that's not the case. There are other independents also, and that confuses the picture a bit more. But of course, it means that we have a lot of PTI-affiliated independents who are not really part of a proper party, so they may choose to go elsewhere, and they might be swayed with the charms of Asif Ali Zardari, who, as we speak, we are hearing that he is in conversation. He has gone for a private visit to Chaudhry Shujaat, the leader of the PML-Q. So that's two more seats, and of course, these two have been playing the game for a very, very long time, and both are considered to be very, very politically savvy. Nawaz Sharif, on the other hand, I think might be able to win some of the independents over, the independents that are not affiliated with PTI. But again, Zardari might beat Nawaz Sharif to that. I do know that Pakistan People's Party's chairman and their candidate for the Prime Minister's chair, Bilawal Bhutto, young blood, and I don't think that he's been saying the sort of things which Nawaz Sharif would have liked very much. I do feel that he has a far more cordial relationship with Nawaz Sharif. So if PML-N does decide and manages to convince PPP to join hands with them and bring everyone on board, it's going to be a very, very difficult time for any Prime Minister from the Pakistan Muslim League Noon. It might be a bit easier for the Pakistan People's Party to form government in the center because through the election campaign and even before that, young Bilawal Bhutto has been saying all the right things, and he has been winning the respect and getting, I suppose, the affections of PTI voters and their sympathizers because of the very vogue comments that he's made. He's made some comments that have been widely appreciated. So I think perhaps for Bilawal Bhutto, this might be a very, very good chance of becoming the youngest prime minister Pakistan has ever seen. And of course, with Zardari Saab's bargaining ability and the PTI affiliated candidates
Right.
looking a bit happier sitting with Bilawal, this could be a cleaner approach. I think perhaps in the next 72 hours or so, we will find a little bit of a different offering. But of course, these are all initial speculations. So we will wait and see.
Yes, I want to come back to you, Raham, and just pick on a few pointers that you just laid out for our viewers. But before I get to that, let me also get in our Pakistan Bureau Chief, Anas Malik, who has been getting us the minute-by-minute developments from on the ground and has been at it. Anas, over to you to give us a sense of where things stand as of now. What is the latest update that you have for us? What are you picking up?
Well, the latest is that about 220 seats results have been announced out of the 265 on which direct polling were held. And if you can see behind me, I'll just read it out. Out of the 220, the chart reads that independents have secured 90 seats. Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz has secured 62 seats. The Pakistan People's Party has secured 51 seats. The MQM has secured 11 seats. The IPP has secured 2 seats. The JUI has secured 2 seats. The PML-Q has secured 2 seats. And there seems to be a problem with NA 265 because on the map it shows that PK map, the Pashtun Milli Awami Party, has secured the seat, but the corresponding document shows that it's the JUI which is indeed has secured the lead. So that's what the situation is on the ground. We're still awaiting a word from the Election Commission with regards to the completion of the results. They will be showing that as soon as it's completed on this very wall. But essentially, what also we're looking at it, adding to what our esteemed guest was talking about, the Election Commission, the law is very clear with regards to the independents. They've got the 72-hour time window. The time is ticking. The clock is ticking, and essentially now they would have 3 options in the next 72 hours. In fact, less than that. They would either have to join a political party, B, form an independent political party, or C, have their own independent identity in place. That is the key question, because it will be a test for loyalties going forward. Molly?
Indeed. And Anas, you were also getting us updates on that address that was delivered by Nawaz Sharif just a short while back. What exactly was the messaging there? What are you picking up in terms of the reactions as well to that address?
Well, the first reaction to that address is that Asif Ali Zardari has the co-chairperson of the Pakistan People's Party and former president as well, has reached Lahore, and he will be holding a meeting. As per media reports, he will be holding a meeting with Nawaz Sharif, as what Nawaz Sharif had called for in his address, calling for political unity, calling for political consensus. He's tasked his brother, who is also the former premier, Nawaz Sharif, with this task to hold meetings with the political leaders to develop a political consensus. So in that part, Asif Ali Zardari has indeed reached Lahore, if the Pakistani media reports are to be believed. And to what I understand, that after this meeting, Asif Zardari will indeed be returning back to Islamabad. It is pertinent to mention that just after the election results were announced, were coming in, and they were yet to be announced last night, Asif Zardari, who was in Nawabshah in his hometown, had flown to Islamabad, still unknown what for exactly, because his son and daughter, Asifa and Bilawal Bhutto, the front runner for PPP's candidate as the Prime Minister, is still in Larkana. So it would be very interesting to see as to what exactly was the purpose of the former president flying down to Islamabad and now being in Lahore and holding this meeting, what would be the political consensus? Because PPP and the Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz don't really have much of a difference. It's just 11 seats, in fact 10 seats, 52 and 62. That's not much of a difference. So in case if the People's Party gets to sway in and lure in the independents on their side, then Bilawal Bhutto Zardari really has a shot of becoming the prime minister, the next prime minister of the country. Molly?
Right, Anas, who's been tracking those developments from on the ground and has been putting all of this in context for us. Reham, I also have to ask you, now we've seen what unfolded over the last 48 hours. We've seen what happened today. Where do things stand according to you, and what happens tomorrow?
Well, you see, as Anas pointed out, we don't have many hours left, and we also don't have many weeks left, because really the reason we had these elections are because we need to resolve our economic crisis. We've only got 3 weeks left before the current IMF program expires, so we have to make up our mind very quickly. The problem with the Nawaz Sharif group has been that they have been indecisive throughout the run-up to the elections. The indecisiveness has been clearly now portrayed in the speech also, because we still don't know who would be the front-runner for Prime Minister's role if the Prime Minister comes from the Pakistan Muslim League Noon. Whereas for the Pakistan People's Party, there is only one Prime Ministerial candidate, and they have, through the election, just stopped Bilawal becoming Prime Minister. So at least there's clarity there for their voters and their supporters, and clarity within the party. There doesn't seem to be that kind of clarity. Will it be Nawaz Sharif who will become Prime Minister? Will it be Shahbaz Sharif? And who knows? I mean, there are rumors that even Maryam Nawaz Sharif, at least up until the election campaign, was being sold to us as a Prime Ministerial candidate. So I think these sort of things do cause a lot more confusion. And of course, the ability of two individuals sitting together, as I pointed out, that Bilawal Bhutto is more likely to be sitting happily with Shahbaz Sharif. And I think that Shahbaz Sharif would be the preferred candidate of the so-called establishment also. But the sooner they make up their minds, the better. The reason Asif Ali Zardari is making these meetings is because everyone knows that Asif Ali Zardari is a tactical genius. And I think that he's played his cards right. So he's showing everyone who the boss really is, because bringing Pakistan People's Party as the only winner out of this hodgepodge of election results. Because you see, when you say that these are Imran-backed or PTI-backed candidates, independent candidates, they cannot form a government on their own, because they're not a political party, and they are not all long-term party workers also. There are these few newcomers as well, the lawyers. So I think that this is going to be extremely difficult for them also to decide where to go.
Right. Who do you think will actually be leading the negotiations from here onwards? Will it actually be the political parties, or to what extent do we see the military actually playing its part behind the scenes? Because let's face it, what we saw unfolding over the last few hours was a surprise for a lot of those who expected and predicted things to unfold otherwise. And like you said, sooner than later is what the expectation among the people on the ground in Pakistan really is. Because let's face it, it's a race against time to actually deal with the real problems on the ground when it comes to the economic crisis particularly.
Yes, but I think that if one thing can be evaluated or taken from the election result is the fact that A, they were peaceful, particularly in Punjab, where, of course, the decisions for who runs the government in the center, and, of course, the most populous province, Punjab, that is in Lahore. So everything happened fairly peacefully here, no reports of any untoward incidents. And also, the other thing which is very clear is that Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf backed candidates did get a fair chance of not only polling stations and managing those polling stations. The women from Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf have done an absolute brilliant, competent job at these polling stations. And so they were allowed to sort of bring in their candidates or bring in their voters. And the result, I mean, the upsets are in clear sight for everyone, that the establishment's involvement as far as withholding the vote or rigging or the Pakistan Tehreek-e-Insaf being limited is not true, because obviously the result is as clear as day in front of all of us. So I think that even with this coalition government or a hung parliament, whatever the numbers might be and who goes where, this will be left to the political leadership of Pakistan People's Party, Pakistan Muslim League Noon, and the other smaller parties as well. I don't think that there will be any influence. I think the establishment is just going to sit back and enjoy, perhaps with popcorn in their hand. And who is to blame? All of these politicians and leaders of the political parties are to blame, because it's become quite fashionable. You see, Imran has set the trend for becoming a compromising politician, for bringing in all of these coalition partners in. If I take you back to 2018, this is a repeat performance. Again, so lots of smaller parties, lots of independents being shuttled away in a private jet. Now that private jet also perhaps is someone else's. And what did we see? We saw 55 plus in Imran's cabinet, and none of them were actually PTI. So I think that's going to be the fate of whoever is in power again.
Okay.
Maybe Pakistan People's Party fare a little bit better, because they have a better chance of a coalition government. But either way, whichever party takes the center and whichever party takes Punjab, it's going to be a rough ride for not only the political leadership, but for us, the people who really want some deliverance and some governance and stability.
Right. What I can also tell our viewers is that as we monitor those election results, it's been quite a grueling time for those on the ground. And Anas Malik would be in a better position to tell us what his 48 hours have really looked like, with hardly any sleep and hardly any food, because this has been quite an electoral contest, to say the least. But Anas, a quick update from you on the latest in terms of the numbers. You are at the epicenter of all that action. What's the latest that you have for us? Anas, if you can hear me. So as Anas and Rehan were pointing out, the last few hours have been quite an interesting, have yielded quite an interesting run-up for a number of reasons. In fact, just a short while back, we had Nawaz Sharif delivering that address. When it comes at a time like this, of course, the entire country and those who have been monitoring these election results have been keeping a close eye on how exactly he would react, remember, because a lot of expectations have been riding on the PML-N. At the same time, we've seen reactions coming in from on the ground. We've also been telling you about what's been going on within the PTI camp. Now, all of this is what's unfolded over the last 24 hours or so. But as Anas was also pointing out, it is a race against time, and it will be a few hours to go before we actually have further clarity on which way things are actually headed. All right, as we continue to monitor the latest coming in from on the ground, we will keep a close eye on the numbers and as and when we have further updates. Thanking our correspondent Anas Malik and also Rehan Khan for being here with us. And just a quick roundup, candidates affiliated with Imran Khan's PTI have secured 88, followed by Nawaz Sharif's PML-N at 43. That is what the numbers look like. Bilawal Bhutto Zardari's PPP having 37. Now, the counting is still not over, remember, even though the numbers giving out a clear lead to the Imran Khan-backed candidates. Nawaz Sharif gave a speech in Lahore. Let's just play out an excerpt for you.
Muslim League Noon is the largest single party in the country today after the elections, और मैं समझता हूँ कि हमारा फर्ज है कि इस मुल्क को भंवर से निकाला जाए.
Now, what was supposed to be a victory speech looks more like an admission of the ground reality. In his speech to his supporters, the PML-N leader acknowledges that the party does not have the numbers to form government itself. He also said while he wishes his party had a larger mandate, he will be inviting other party leaders to hold talks for a coalition government. He also said he wants to sit together in harmony with other parties to change Pakistan. And according to the website of the Election Commission of Pakistan, results have been declared in a total of 57 seats so far. Elections, remember, were held for 265 of the 266 seats in the National Assembly. A political party needs 133 seats for a simple majority. So it basically looks like Nawaz Sharif's party, which has won at least 17 seats so far, may form a coalition government with the independent candidates. That's what things might be looking like. According to local media reports, Sharif's aide, Ishaq Dar, has expressed confidence that the PML-N will form the government. He said that his party would concede if any other party emerged as a clear winner. It has been, remember, more than 24 hours since the polls closed, yet we still do not have a clear picture about the winner. What we know for sure, though, is that the elections have sprung a big surprise for everyone. Despite the Pakistan Army-led crackdown on Imran Khan and his political party, the PTI, the independent candidates affiliated with him have taken the lead. But with Imran Khan behind the bars and Nawaz Sharif looking for post-poll alliances, what does this majority mean for the PTI-affiliated candidates? How do they form the government? Theoretically speaking, members of Pakistani parliament are able to form a government regardless of their party affiliation. And in the PTI's case, their affiliated candidates can choose to avoid joining any other party and retain their parliamentary independence. And this could, by the way, potentially allow them to form a government if they cross the threshold required. The threshold, remember, is 134. However, if they choose to go independent still, it could result in an extremely weak government, perpetually vulnerable to the whims of individuals who can actually choose to desert the ruling coalition also. But in case the Imran Khan supporters decide they are willing to join some other party in order to form a government, they must announce their decision within 3 days of the official notification issued by the poll panel. Of course, that would be after the completion of the counting of the votes. And in any case, Nawaz Sharif looks weakened. Clearly, he does not have the numbers that he wanted, and he will now have to stitch up an alliance to form the government. It's not a dream election for anyone. There are no clear winners, perhaps only losers in this hotly contested election. WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the updates on the move.